Here we go. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Diablo 4. I am Loki Zool. This is the real episode 19. I had to go back and actually delete the episode 19 that was on YouTube because I was having Wi-Fi problems, so it was only like 8 minutes long. My PlayStation B's like that sometimes. It just has times where it just doesn't want to stay connected to the Wi-Fi. I think it has a lot to do with how long the PlayStation's been running, because I actually streamed episode 18 for like 4.5, almost 5 hours, and then was just getting ready to end it, and the Wi-Fi cut out. So I thought I fixed the issue, and I'm like, well, I ain't got nothing else to do. I'll go ahead and do episode 19. Well, it lasted 8 minutes. Well, the first time I tried, I actually thought I was going to have to delete 2 episode 19s, because the first time it lasted like a minute. But that one didn't even go through at all. The second one was 8 minutes, so there might be some stuff you don't see between episode 18 and this episode 19, but it's not a lot. I was in town the whole time, so. You've seen I added another character to play off stream, my necromancer dead god. And I'm low level gaming with him. I'm already almost done with Act 1 and I'm only level 12, whereas in the case of Laughing God, my first character, I was like level 30. Higher than that even, I think, when I finished Act 1, so. That is his house, too, because there is a building off in the background, so that is definitely Lorath's house. Oh, that's right. I don't have any aspects to put on boots, so. Alright. Now, I'm trying to find. They must have added 3 quests, because I searched a video. I'm like, where are these last 4 side quests? And the guy, and he even showed like he only had 35 to get, and I have clearly 38, so they must have added. But I did find something right in here, and I'm also going to search here and up in here. So I need to go this way. Hopefully we get a good stream. I mean, I'm not going to do no 5-hour stream, because I am going to end up making the tacos I didn't make last night. I wound up just eating the leftover pizza from the night before. Kind of weird coming back to this after.
I'm low on precious mana.
Been playing my necromancer for last 2 sessions, so. I did find out that your characters do actually like share. But let's go back here real quick. See, the problem is like he did show me. All of the quests that I have left, I think, side quest wise, for the Fracture Peaks, are actually they come from drops. So. Boom. Look at that, my health coming back. The problem is they don't show completed quests, I don't think. That's Scotland. I never used to have too much trouble with them bears, but ever since I hit like level 40, I've learned they can be treacherous. Here we go. Angel breath. I think I've gotten a lot of that. I love my minions on my Necro, by the way. But one thing I haven't been able to figure out is if they actually level up when I level up.
Out of mana once again.
I mean, I guess it might be assumed, or it's a tip when you, for a loading screen maybe? I don't know. I even went online to look and I never got an answer. because, you know, when you scroll over the skill, it just tells you like skirmishers or plus 30 attack, plus minus 15 defense, but it's like, okay, so what are their stats? You know what I mean? At least Diablo 2, they would tell you the stats of the skeletons. But I mean, people were saying that they become useless at like level 40 or something. I don't know. I'll certainly find out. I hope not. And it's like, just in general, I don't know if maybe it's specifically Blizzard games, but like, I know for sure in most Blizzard games, minion master builds, I don't know why, but they're made so that they're so crappy at higher levels. I mean, they could say like, well, we want you to focus on making your character strong. Well, like, the minions are a extension of my character power, you know? You know, think of it like my skeleton minion is the same as a skill that another character would use, you know? So I don't know, man. But yeah, that was definitely a problem. I think they might have fixed it in Diablo 2 Resurrection. But I don't know. But yeah, after a certain point, if in Diablo 2, the original, back in the day, like I said, once you got about Act 3 Nightmare, I mean, even full ranks in Summon Skeleton and full ranks in Skeleton Mastery, you would just get to a point where your minions would just die faster than you can generate corpses to replace them. So it just kind of became a waste of time to have them. Which is a shame to me because it had its own skill tree, you know. And I understand there's going to be a meta for everything. So it might not, you know, be the best, most efficient skill tree to level, but you should be able to balance your game so that there's no useless skill trees after a certain point in the game. Like, what's the point of having a whole skill tree that becomes completely useless later on in the game? I guess that was their form of balancing for like PvP, because the minions targeted on their own, which was a double-edged sword. I mean, They didn't want people with like 12 minions to just wreck folks because their minions were so powerful. But you know what? To make it so they can't fight PvP at all is kind of an overcorrection. I like that too. That's why I mentioned Blizzard games in general. WoW was like that with the Warlock. You know, obviously that was the character that I played because I love Minion Masters, and of course, I made my Warlock a summoner, and oh, it didn't destroy that one. I was gonna say, I'm like, when I salvaged that shit, it didn't seem like it gave me anything good for the legendary that I destroyed. And now I understand it's because I didn't actually destroy a legendary. Oh no. I'll use teleport, so. But yeah, and they actually changed the Warlock from what I was used to. I went back and played again, and like before you had to like harvest souls from enemies to summon things, which if you started, you know, there were definite benefits. You know, I could convert those soul stones into health. I could, you know, I actually became pretty proficient at converting those soul stones. But at the same time, they did end up basically getting rid of the soul stones. And I understand why. It was mostly because
I'm low on precious mana.
if you got into a situation where you started struggling and dying a lot, like in a raid or like in a, you know, a dungeon or whatever, you're struggling and things aren't going well for you just in general. You know, might have trouble coming up with new soul stones. You know, if you're at the boss of a dungeon and you've killed all the enemies leading to the boss, but then you start really dying to the boss and using all your soul stones and still dying to the boss, how are you gonna get new soul stones? You've already killed everything in that dungeon. So I get why they got rid of the soul stones, but at the same time, the skills that pertain to, you know, absorbing the soul stones for health and whatnot, kind of a painful loss. I didn't pop my Hydra on that one. You know, it was a give and take, I guess. But as I was saying, you know, I was really proud of my warlock, and he was great in PvE, like exceptionally great. You know, I focused a lot on my imp, which was good for DPS when like I was in dungeons and in groups. But I also, you know, buffed up my uh, Voidwalker to such an extent that um, I'd be like, oh, I can tank with my Voidwalker, and they'll be like, no, you can't. You can use your Voidwalker to tank in the overworld, but in a dungeon, you're not getting away with that. I mean, watch. And sure enough, yeah, he could do it. He was a great tank, sometimes better than actual player tanks, because I controlled when he taunted, and you'll find in games like World of Warcraft, just because somebody plays a class doesn't mean they know how to play a class. You know, there were horrible healers and there were horrible tanks. Blah 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 blah. Anyways, not to get too far afield. I actually did some PvP one time with a priest who was lower level than me. Not by a whole lot, like 2 or 3 levels. But he ended up, I mean, I came close to killing him a couple times, but I almost think he was just toying with me. I mean, he was like, oh yeah, as a warlock you should have focused on fear-based spells. And that's what he used as a priest, you know. If I was doing too much damage to him, he'd just hit me with fear. Then he'd hit my Voidwalker with fear. Or then he'd hit my imp with fear. You know what I mean? And then he'd just kill me while I'm running away.
Out of mana once again.
That was the guy from the thing. There's a signpost in Kiovashad, like right here, that warns you not to come to this area because of that specific Sir Lina. Even though it's a female, that was actually a woman. They still refer to it as Sir. Well, I've been here. I already did that quest. That one took me a while to figure out too, and I didn't look it up. I actually just messing around figured out the riddle, and I actually had to add weight to my emote tree. I ain't got no robe. I really wish, because I know one of the quests that he said was an herbalist quest that you get from collecting gallow vines in this area, I guess. And I actually went and I think I might have done it, you know, but there's no way of knowing because it doesn't track completed quests in any type of way. I don't know what he was shooting up at the top.
I'm out of mana. I need time to prepare that.
Well, I've already been in there.
I'm out of mana.
Ooh, skull fragments.
I lack the needed mana. out of mana once again.
That was who I was talking about. Like I no longer wish to be friends with the dude.
I'm out of mana.
And even if I did, I'm streaming this, and he don't even own this. He gonna want me to go play Call of Duty, so I wouldn't. Really? Yeah. That's what you get. Operation Overkill.
I lack the needed mana. I need time to prepare that.
Oh, really? You just gonna use Meteor on a monster that was already dead before I used Meteor? don't know, folks. I'll give this area a quick pass. And then I just don't. I'm gonna go up here too.
I'm low on precious mana.
Holy shit. What's that bring me to? Oh, just 10 more. This frigid expanse has a lot. I'm betting there'll be one somewhere in here. Somewhere down here, although I feel like I searched that pretty well. No, I've been all over the place. It's kind of almost shocking how there could be 10 altars of Lilith that I ain't found. I know I got a quest item here.
I'm low on precious mana.
no be there. I don't know if I've been in here a whole lot. It seems like the type of area that I would have pushed in until the map uncovered and then just moved on. My battery's about to die on this controller. Ooh. Making sure I truly killed everything here. I'm actually starting to get hungry. Oh yeah, and I was doing some research because
I'm low on precious mana.
you know, Lilith, her name is like Mother of Hatred or something like that. But I'm like, well, she's a demon, and Lorath even said she's the spawn of a prime. So I'm like, well, who? It had to be Mephisto, right? Because he's the primeval of nature. And yeah, she's Lucian, and the other one was Lilith. The funny thing is there's no mention of a mother. You know what I mean? which is weird. Also, I was reading, it was like, yeah, and, Mephisto being true to his domain of being hatred, hated his kids just as much as everybody else. Like, it's like, wow. So, how did he make them? And why would he make them?
I need time to prepare that.
And unless he, like, asexually reproduced somehow, who would he have liked enough to have children? Unless he was just in hell raping other demons just for kicks. I don't know, man. It all gets a little convoluted, and at some points it doesn't make sense because Inarius going to hell. And that's what happens when you start adding to a pre-existing lore. Like, I don't think before, was there ever a mention of Inarius before Diablo 4? But apparently part of the lore is that they've already discussed in this game that Honorius actually spent like a century in hell as a captive. And part of the lore says that Mephisto actually made a treaty with the angels to kind of basically leave Sanctuary alone. Just let the humans own Sanctuary, do their thing, and if they chose to be good or they chose to be evil, that was on them. And whichever side they chose, obviously, that side would reap their souls in the end, and they would join the army of that side in the eternal conflict. But, like, they agreed to leave Sanctuary alone. And Mephisto was actually part of the agreement. Mephisto he put his taint on the Cathedral of the Light, and also was given Honorius as part of the agreement, you know what I mean? So the other angels basically probably sold Honorius out because he created Sanctuary in the first place and gave birth to the humans. Because most of the angels not really fans of the humans either. But then, so you have, as part of the treaty, Mephisto being given Honorius to go spend time in hell. But then it says under Lilith's entry that how she met Honorius was that Honorius had actually invaded hell and she helped capture him, and was fully planning on torturing him just like everybody else that's in hell, but then found that he, like her, they had similar goals. They both wanted to just be done with the eternal conflict. They both had a similar urge to find more in their existence besides this constant war that's been raging from the time that Anno and Tomaset or whatever died fighting each other and split into the angels and evils. So it's kind of conflicting. I mean, there's ways that they could both be true. I mean, it would take some doing, for sure, because they do seem very contradictory. If Anarius was given, then how could he have been captured? But, maybe Anarius was in the midst of a invasion of hell when Mephisto went and basically signed the treaty with the angels, who in turn were like, well, since Anarius did all this, he created Sanctuary and we don't approve of it, and also he's in hell already, we just won't give him any support, and he's yours to do with what you will. And that's the only way it makes sense, is that, Anarius would have been in an invasion of hell, and then the angels, as part of the treaty, just didn't help him out at all. Or maybe even betrayed him to make sure that he got captured. I mean, who knows? I mean, if you go back and read the original booklet to Diablo, and then play through Diablo and find all the little story tomes, it takes multiple playthroughs, because Diablo had this thing where, like, quests would happen on specific levels of the dungeon and also specific levels of your character, but not every game session would have the same quest. Like, very commonly, it was very rare to get the Butcher quest and the Skeleton King quest in the same game. It did happen, but it was rare. But if you go through all the lore of Diablo 1, there were some inconsistencies even back then. But it was it was lore for a video game, and they didn't know that it was going to be what it became. So, I mean, they put a lot into the lore for that first game, but at the same time, you weren't supposed to read super deep into it. Like, I know that kind of conflicts, but there were just inconsistencies. while I was reading into the lore of Lilith, I found out that I really need to go back and play through Diablo 3 again. I played through it the one time. Uh, I found the whole story experience kind of meh. And it bothered me that there were no really new locales. They just kind of, there was a lot of playing off of the nostalgia of Diablo 2. Like you start off in Tristram, and that's while it's iconic, because it's the location of the first game, and you know there was the nostalgia factor of going back to rescue Deckard Cain in the second game. You know, bringing back the Butcher and the Skeleton King and the Cathedral and all that was just, okay, we're just milking the nostalgia for all it is. And then, you know, that whole, like, act was basically the same environment as the Rogue encampment, Act 1 of Diablo 2. And then I think you went to the jungle, which was like, may as well have been Kurat. Travancore and all that. I mean, and then you went to what may as well have been a Lugo Lane type of area. And I don't even know if I actually finished that game. I think I beat the third act and was just kind of like, when the whole Adria was secretly evil all along, and Leah, the person you've been traveling with and helping out all this time, is secretly the new vessel for Diablo. It just really, it made me quit playing. So, but apparently, you know, I had mentioned that in Diablo 2 you battle two of the lesser evils, Andario and Duriel. Well, Asmodean and Belial were in Diablo 3, and I actually battled them, and I had completely forgot, you know what I mean? And that's, you know, a huge mess up. I mean, I don't talk like I know everything and all that. I know a lot. I know most of what Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 had to offer. But I don't know everything. But if I'm gonna talk, I need to know what I'm talking about. So I need to go back and play through 3 so I know that lore. Even though, like I said, you know, Diablo 1 had some lore holes, but they wasn't too bad. They were small, and you really had to look for them. Diablo 2 didn't. I feel like that was a pretty solid story, and it wasn't overly deep into the lore. The surrounding lore, it had its own game lore that was like the story of that game, but like as far as like big picture lore, I don't, you know, it didn't take away or conflict with Diablo 1, the lore established in Diablo 1. But another thing that just killed me about Diablo 3 was just one, you gave a name to the warrior in Diablo 1 and made him the prince's son, even though, that's all a retcon. None of that existed in the real Diablo 1. As evidenced by the fact that, when you play the warrior and go into town, nobody reacts to, oh, this is the prince. You're just another returning soldier who's come back to their hometown to find, or not even your hometown, you just come back to this area to find that, hey, there's some horrible shit going on here, and sorry you wandered into town at a rough time. You might have trouble leaving. The demons aren't letting anybody leave, so. It just... And then what they did, they went back and retconned a lot of stuff from Diablo 1, and it totally messed all the lore up for the whole game. And then there's... And I guess the Reaper of Sorrow, you fight the Angel of Death.
My bags are full.
Just, I don't know. I need to play through Diablo 3. But, and then I haven't played a Diablo Immortal. Like, I've heard that that's another, well, one, it's a mobile game that's, I think, probably one of those autoplay games. I'm not a huge fan of those, you know what I mean? That's one thing I noticed that a lot of mobile MMOs do now, and it really bothers me. Like, instead of me running my character over to an area and battling the enemies and choosing which skills I'm going to use and running over and talk, I just click a button and the character runs on their own. And when I see an enemy, I just click a button and the character battles on his own. Like, well, then why am I even here? I'm just watching a movie. But I heard Diablo 3 is kind of like that. I don't know. But I also heard that you get to a certain point in it where, like, the only way to progress and level up is actually to spend real world money on the game. I mean, from what I heard, and they may have, because they got review bombed over it, and so they may have changed it. But I think at one point, yeah, like, you could feasibly get to level 100 and get all the best gear, but it would take you like 1,000 years. So you were pretty much basically pigeonholed into spend your cash with us. But I heard one of the main antagonists in that game is actually, oh, those are my old boots. Is actually the Countess of Blood from Diablo 2, and it's like, okay, dude. The Butcher, I get, because he's kind of a demon. He is a demon. So, and any demon killed in the realm of Sanctuary doesn't, even demons killed in hell, honestly. Demons don't ever actually die. They just kind of, you kill their form and then they rematerialize back in hell after gathering strength. Why is that grade? Because it's imprinted? Or is it because it conflicts with that? I bet that's what it is. Yeah, I bet it is. That's what it is. Vajra. Whatever.
You can take what's left.
I could have just put that on here, but I ain't worried about it. Huh. Hmm. Well, I guess I can just leave it like that. Now I've noticed that I share. Let's check this. Oh no, I don't share obols, but I do share money and building material, as well as altars of Lilith and the map, which is cool. There are some things that I like. Yeah, I've read a little about unique items, and I guess they increased the drop rate from like 1 in a million to like 1 in 700,000, so, or 1 in 7,000, so it's still like Not gonna happen unless you're super fucking lucky. Let's see.
Greetings.
Hello.
I don't know. I might be.
Is it common for devout folk to drink so enthusiastic?
Father bring you luck?
Let's see. Oh, that's where you get well, fuck yeah.
It seems your prayers have been answered. Not much, is it? Very nice, but could be better. It seems your prayers have been answered.
It's good. I lose the stats and the thorns. And none of the blizzard stuff helps me, but... mana cost reduction is great. Oh, that... I think so. Now let's see if we can do this. Nah. Yeah. Damn, my guy's looking gangster. I want to see where my town portal should be up in this area, right? Let's go ahead.
That's good salvage.
That's cool. I mean, I like the hat. I just like the one I had before better. I know I can go to the wardrobe and just change it. getting the meteor on that. My guy was just kind of standing there. Fucking Chuck Norris. Remember when it was like super taboo to Chuck Norris and like MMO? Because the Chuck Norris jokes had just gotten too out of hand. Like, people were tired of Chuck Norris. Like, please don't mention Chuck Norris. You know what? People just love to hate. You know what I mean? Because the dinosaurs would have ran from him. It's funny. He's like in his 60s and he's still out here getting it done, kicking faces off. Interesting. I know I've done this. That's the one where I was cheesing the enemies. I'd be up on top of a ledge, just killing them from up top. I know, I think I've already searched this. But it feels like there should just be something there. Let's search up here real quick. Don't rush up on me, dear. Don't do it. Those are goats, actually. I don't care. I call them what I want.
I'm not ready yet.
Greet death with open arms, huh? No thank y'all. Listen, y'all are the best. Wishing. That's just so for you to breathe with these holes in your chest. Part of that was a DMX. The rest is just bullshit I made up. Or maybe it is the line, I don't know. I couldn't remember exactly what the next verse was, so I just kind of went with whatever came to head first. Got to see DMX live and in concert about 6 months before he died during COVID. To let it go on because of COVID, so I ended up doing it in a parking lot, not too far away. concert, I mean, was kind of shitty because I went there with a bunch of money thinking, you know, I was going to be able to drink and party and have a good time. And since we weren't at the venue, there was no concession. We didn't have that. We got to do it, but yeah, we were expecting to be able to buy stuff there. You have cool stuff, you might have it. But yeah, and then he ended up dying like 6 months later. Very sad. Oh, that's there's nothing around. You hit me with your axe. I forgot over here is like oh no, that's not a cellar. Let's see, fire resistant. So it's better resistance to all. Increases fire damage. Increases frozen. Like who's using both? I mean that's better. Well. Because I know that's kind of an area that I just kind of ran through. mean, I almost want to go search over here. But is it worth running over to? Almost 5 o'clock. Yeah. Oh, there's a clock up there, 4:50. Yeah. Unfortunately, we'll be calling it soon. Druid. No, I already did that one. I like how, like, if I do it on this character, like, there are things that the characters share amongst each other. Like, when I uncovered the map on this character, it's basically uncovered for my other character. When I get an altar of Lilith, it applies to both characters. My gold applies to all my characters. I like that we don't share obols. At least I hope we don't, because he only had like 100 something. And he had 280, so that would suck. Of course, my other character is like level 12, so he doesn't really need obols yet. I mean, if he found a legendary. Crafting materials we share. I mean, I already said that.
I need time to prepare that.
I'll let you hit me with your shit. That's why you don't run up on a fire wielder, yo. share the same stash, which was true of Diablo 2. Then again, I don't think Diablo 2 like the individual stash boxes. I don't really put anything in my stash. What else makes you think? Not my Wi-Fi. Yeah, I think I'm about to get DC. Ain't nobody got time for that. And again, that's all entirely Blizzard's end. It is not my Wi-Fi. As evidenced by the fact that the stream hasn't been disrupted. Captain can't get right up in here. Yeah, he's only level 12. Straight gangster. But anyways, any hoodles. I'm gonna go ahead and end things here. I'll probably be on later. God, there's so many projects I've been wanting to get into. I need to finish my Resident Evil series. Resident Evil or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out, and I haven't even played the remake, even though I own it. And Final Fantasy VII was one of my favorite games. It's my favorite Final Fantasy game. And, you know, that means something to me. I know it don't mean shit to you, but, you know, my first Final Fantasy game was the first Final Fantasy. It wasn't like, you know, when I talk to a lot of younger people, their favorite is 10. Oh, Final Fantasy X was the greatest. It was the best one. I'm like, oh. Well, which game introduced you to Final Fantasy? Oh, it was 10. It's like, okay, yeah. Like, I get it. You love that game. And it is a Final Fantasy game. But for me, that's the worst one. One of the worst ones. It's the worst one I've played. I've heard 13 was pretty horrible. I don't know about 11. It was a MMO type of deal. I owned it, but didn't have a PC. It's a weird thing. So I never actually played it. And even when I got a PC, I never actually got into playing it because I had WoW and Guild Wars. And from what I heard, 11 didn't have any form of PvP. Like, what's the point of playing an MMO Final Fantasy game if I can't battle other characters? Like, plus, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of those 10-2 type of deals where your abilities were set by the outfit that you were wearing. Like, okay. I'm not a little girl. I'm not here to play dress up. But I should play Final Fantasy Remake. I've heard it's really good. I'm just scared because, you know, when you have one of your favorite games of all time and they remake it, there's a lot that can make you angry. There's a lot of chances for it to, you know. Like, for instance, Final Fantasy VII, Disc 1 went from Midgar all the way to the crater. Final Fantasy Remake is literally just Midgar from what I hear. And then Rebirth, that ain't even going to take you to the crater. So it's like, how are they going to get through this game? Are they just really going to shorten the story and pack it into like more is covered in the whole Midgar section than was even remotely covered in the original. I mean, obviously it has to, but like, I saw reviews for the Rebirth, and they were like, you can explore from Junon to Gold Saucer, and I'm like, that's still all just disc 1. And there's supposedly only going to be 3 parts to the remake. You know, the reboot or whatever. So, like, how big is the third part going to be? Like, and also, the way they came out with them, like, I have a PS4, I don't own a PS5. So I'll play the remake on PS4, and then I have to buy a PS5 just to play the second part. Like, that's ridiculous. You know, just, I don't know. I haven't even played them. I'm sure they're fantastic, but I don't know. I can be funny about shit like that. I was so excited to finally see a show based on the Wheel of Time books, and they went all political and added a bunch of social messaging from our current times into the story for no reason other than to check boxes. Oh, we gotta have a gay person. We gotta have, you know, I don't have anything against people being gay. I don't have nothing against people of different ethnicities or colors, but when you're destroying the greatest story I've ever read outside of the Bible to do these things, like, that's where I have a problem. And I think they're going to run into an issue where they're not going to be able to reconcile some of the choices that they've made without just completely going off into their own separate story. And then, why is it called the Wheel of Time then? Just call it a Wheel of Time story, so that we know we're not seeing, like, I get that there has to be some alterations to Hollywood it up, but man, if there was ever a book series that was like tailor-made to go right to screen, it was the Wheel of Time. But I will not watch them. I watched the first season because my mom wanted to watch it. Because, you know, I got her hooked on those books. She finished them. And she didn't like it either. But I wasn't going to watch it because, I mean, they culture washed the people from Emmons Field, which made no sense. It just made no sense. But I've covered all of that elsewhere. Check throughout all my other videos. You'll hear me bitching and griping about this, that, and the other thing. But yeah, I want to do the Final Fantasy. I want to finish the Resident Evil. The other day I watched iRobot, and the computer's voice made me want to go back and play Doom 3. I have all the Dooms. I have Doom Super Nintendo on my PS4. I bought like the Doom Master Collection. I ended up having 2 copies of Doom. I gave my friend one of them because I ended up buying the Master Collection because it came with the original Doom Super Nintendo, Doom 2 Super Nintendo, Doom 3, and then Doom 2016. And then I went and purchased separately Doom 64. And I also have Doom Eternal, which I purchased and have never played because I didn't finish Doom 20. It was a great game. But there have been like 2 periods of me buying games and just never playing them. And they were for different reasons. That's why I say there were 2 periods. The first period was when I was really heavy into Call of Duty Zombies. And I was a truck driver, so I had money. I would buy a game every once in a while but maybe play it a little bit, but not finish it, or maybe not play it at all because I just had to get back and play Call of Duty Zombies. And you know, obviously that period ended at around the time of Cold War because I just got out on how they treat the zombies people. Like, I buy your games for $70 and it's the only reason I buy it is to play zombies, and you just refuse to see that there's people that you know, to them it's just a side mini game, and they've put less effort into it as we went on. I mean, it started not long into this Cold War cycle where it was just like, where's the effort? And that was actually, looking back, a bright spot because at least it had 4 maps. An Outbreak, Vanguard, I didn't even buy because that was mailed in junk. And that's it. I got Modern Warfare just because I watched people playing the zombies on that, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of like Outbreak. It's a different thing. I'll check it out. Played it for about a month. And then, yeah. There's nothing driving me to keep playing it. And then the second period that I was talking about is the more modern period that I'm in now, where I'm buying these games with the intent to stream them and then never getting around to it. You know, I bought a whole bunch of spooky, scary horror games I was gonna do a spooky season thing back a year or two ago. I wanted to start streaming, right, and do a whole Halloween's my favorite season, so I wanted to do a whole spooky series and just do me reacting to my first time playthroughs of these spooky games, because there are spooky games that I've played that I wasted the first play, like Until Dawn. What a great game. I didn't know what was going on. I had my suspicions. I thought there were 2 killers, and then it turns out there were no human killers. It was all you know, spoiler alert, but like, Until Dawn was great, but I didn't stream me playing it. I didn't give the stream reaction, and you know, once you played Until Dawn through all the way once, you know, there's still reasons to go back and play to try and keep everybody alive or get different endings, but it's not the same. I mean, you're not gonna have the scary factor that you had. So that's why I've got games like The Forest and 7 Days to Die and The Amnesia Collection, Resident Evil The Village. All of these games I've bought, never played. And the only reason I don't do it now is because we're like so far away from Halloween. Although if I started now, I could probably finish a lot of them by Halloween. It might actually work out, but you know, I want to use my PlayStation camera, but I don't feel like my setup is that great right now. I don't have the cool gamer chair. I don't have a bunch of video game referencing stuff on the wall, you know. I need to just bite the bullet and do this stuff. Well, and the other issue with those is, like, I want it to be dark. And lately, you know, for a while there, I was doing most of my driving at night, so I was a night person, but now, you know, I'd either have to wake up super early and do it, or stay up super late. And my new job that I just got, or hopefully got, I think I'm pretty much got. They said that they're hiring me, barring the background check, which, as far as I know, I don't have anything on my background, but shit, who knows, man? There might be a KPS on me from fucking Indiana or Kentucky or some shit for some shit I don't even know about. Like, I don't really go out and get in trouble, but damn, you just never know. But my new job is gonna be 1400 to 2200 or 2 p.m. Eastern time to 10 p.m. So that actually might work out. Get off of work, sleep all morning, go to work, get off of work, and then play my games. It might actually work. We'll see. Anyways, it's been great. I know I've been talking y'all's ear off. And by y'all, I mean nobody, because, again, nobody's watching any of these. I get the occasional one viewer for about 5 minutes. It's weird, because the 8-minute stream that I deleted that was Wi-Fi issues actually had a view. But the 5-hour stream before that, not one single view. Oh well, I'm just gonna keep continuing. Maybe, the Lord willing, it'll happen. If you build it, they will come. Later, Gators.